How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to another video, another day, another dollar with your boy. We're gonna be looking at what happened today and in the bigger picture on our charts. We're looking at the S&P 500 futures. I can also look at SPY for you guys just so there isn't much confusion. We'll break that down as well as review what's happened in our futures contract. The market is very, very bullish. If you are selling in this market, hopefully the only reason you're selling is to be taking profit. You should have absolutely zero reason to be looking for shorts in a market of this nature, just due to the fact that we're one time framing up, meaning setting higher highs, higher lows on basically every time frame across the board. So it's just been relentless push to the upside, relentless grind. We finally reached new all-time highs again in the S&P 500 futures, as well as reached the overnight high from way back. Oh, okay, you're gonna let me view it? Not it. Hold on, hang with me. Where's it at? Not gonna let me view it, is it? Anyway, we'll get back to that. But there was an overnight high. I think this is it right here at 58. Yeah, that's it at 58 that we have not hit. Right, we set all-time highs, had an overnight high in the overnight session, set all-time highs in the real trading hours. Same thing here. Both times did not get those overnights. This time round we got it and then some. Oh, these highs right here, 68. So we got those highs after setting. Right, RTH never did get those overnight highs. We eventually got to it today as we went triple distribution day up. So there's really no reason for you to be selling in this market unless you have some type of setup and you got to be in and out. Like that's really the basis of it. Well, in yesterday's video, I kind of discussed how I broke down our larger time frame. Everything that I've learned along my journey has been due to Paul Asmar. Check him out on YouTube. Go to camelbacktrading.org. Go check him out. Great mentor, huge influence on how I've been trading. Just helped me out. Not only him, just other people in that trading room has helped me out tremendously with my trading journey. Services that get offered in there, just ideas getting bounced around, just helps out a tremendous amount. So with that being said, let's go ahead and break into what we're looking at today. So remember in yesterday's video, I was discussing how one of two things was going to happen whenever the daily reached the top end of our weekly balance. So remember, our daily's been one time framing up and our weekly has been in a balance. Well, we just broke out of that balance to the upside. All right. Broke out of that balance to the upside. This right here, right around this 50 level was our weekly balance high. Okay. 64.50 was roughly our balance high. And we broke through that pretty good today. In yesterday's video, I said if we can't find any acceptance basically above 64.30, we couldn't find any acceptance above that 64.30 level, then the odds of us rotating back and testing the lows were going to be good. But as you can see today, so I'll show you on our chart, several times we tested 64.30 and we got a responsive bounce. We failed it a couple times early on in the morning, but once we reclaimed it, got above it, which was basically yesterday's high. Once we got above yesterday's high and held above it, the grind to the upside was strong. We continued to grind pretty much all day long, very small pullbacks, but we are now one time framing up. You can see on our daily how we've broken through this little bit of resistance. So that is looking good and healthy. The weekly, right? Technically, from a weekly standpoint, you could say that we're stretching the balance high, but obviously tomorrow, if we come into the market and we continue to grind above the 64.70 high today, then you'll see more of a push to the upside, right? We had a little bit of balance here, which resulted in a push of about 3% to the upside. A little bit of a balance push, about 1% to the upside. So let's just say for 2% push to the upside, roughly leaves us around that 6,600 level, um, which before maybe seeing some type of strong sell in this market. But even then, that's just speculative. Right now, only thing you should be doing is buying pullbacks. Anytime the market pulls back, get long, as long as it's against a visual area. So weekly, one time framing up, continuing to push higher. Daily continues to push higher. One time framing up. You can see how we've been setting higher highs, higher lows on our daily. This higher highs, higher lows, higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, new all-time high. So we'll see how we come into the market tomorrow, if we continue to push up to the upside or not. Overall, today was a very good trading day for me. Besides a silly minute in the MNQ, I was in a position long, got out of that position. Normally I trade with brackets, ended up getting I ended up trading without a bracket, put in an extra sell order that I did not know about, that got hit. I ended up taking like a 30-point loss on that, which isn't a lot of money, but it took a chunk out of my profits on the day. And then I made it back in another trade in ES. So it took me about 30 minutes before I realized that I was losing money in a position. And then I finally got out of that position for, small loss, and then made it back with some trades in ES. Now, today was a triple distribution day to the upside. Very choppy early on, right? But once we got above the initial balance high and the overnight highs, it was pretty much game over. Let's see if we can pull up. Might be better on this. 5 minute. Pull up a 5 minute. Just so I can show you the 65 or 6430 level. Right? Basically yesterday's high. Oh, I hate when I do that. I still don't know my, anyway. Basically, the highs right around here, right? This is what we wanted to claim above and hold above intraday today, right? If we held above that, it would be bullish above that 6430 level, right? If we held above that level, was very bullish. You can see we got above it today early on in the morning. We broke back down below it coming into the open. We pushed back above it. We break back down below it again. But nonetheless, we still took out the previous day's high. Positive for the buyers, right? We pushed down to the towards the lows. You don't really know what you should be doing in this moment. You don't know if you should be shorting. You don't know if you should be getting long, things of that nature. So you stay out of the market. But once you find the reclaim of this 6430 level and you see us hold that 6430 level, knowing that was the previous day's high, knowing that the daily is one time framing up, the monthly is one time framing up, the weekly is just in balance, and our target on the upside is going to eventually be that balance high, right? 6450 would be your target on the upside. There were other targets, which was the overnight high, the initial balance high. But you can see how we held here, right? We broke back above it, came back to 6430, held it, kind of tested it again around that 6430 level once more. Once you've seen that, that was your kind of idea. All right, let's get long and let's see if we get the initial balance high. All right. Initial balance being the first two time frames high and low. You can see here on the chart on the left, first two time frames, or first three time frames I have highlighted blue. First two being the first 30-minute time frames of the day. Once we got above that high, we got the initial balance high. That was kind of game over for the sellers, right? Your next target on the upside wasn't until 6450 and the overnight high. So getting long off that 6430 pullback, if you weren't comfortable there, waiting until you got above the initial balance high, and then taking the long to go and get the overnight high, and then that 6450 all-time high was kind of your telltale, right? I was like, all right, let's get long on any pullback against single prints, against one-time framing, things of that nature, to go and get those targets. And that's what I did, right? I didn't get involved in this mess early on. I seen the hold of 64.30. I made note of that. And then I waited until we were up here near the initial balance high. I wasn't certain that we would get the initial balance high, so I waited until we did. And then once I seen we did and we pulled back, I was long. I was long as soon as D period opened up to go and get the overnight high, which at the time, the overnight high was right around, which I guess we had gotten it. We had just missed it. Oh, we had gotten it in C period, but in D period, it was to get the one-time framing up and then go and get the Y point of control from that day, which was way over here, at Y point of control, and then eventually the all-time high up there. So I did very well on longs today on pullbacks. Anytime we got a pullback, I got long in F period against the single print fill. We came in, I was long 64.50, or actually before then I was long in E period at 64.45. My stop was just below the single print filled, because had we came back into C's range, the odds of coming back down lower were pretty good at that point. So I'd gotten long around 64.50 or 64.45. It pulled back, rotated up towards the highs. I got out around 64.48, so made good points on that. Same thing in F period. We pulled back long the single print fill, rotation, got that spike higher into that Y point of control. That was the last trade of my day, but there were very good opportunities just throughout the day to get long. You had a long against the single print in G period, right? You had longed against the one-time framing in I period, or in H period, long against the one-time framing in I period, long against the one-time framing in K, right? So there were several times you could have gotten long in this market, right? Long against an H against G, long against H and I, long on the single print fill in K, got that rotation back up, and a little bit of a spike to the upside. So nothing but longs in this market were pretty much warranted, right? Long in E, long in F, long in G against single prints, long in H against the one-time framing, long in I against the one-time framing, long in K against the single print fill, long in L, right, against K's low, long in M against L's low. Each time you pull back, you've seen buyers step into this market and you got that rotation higher. I mean, you can look right here on the footprint. Look at all these lows right here. Boom, boom, boom. You can just see buyers step in and we got that rotation back up towards the upside, right? So there was nothing but longs that were warranted in this market. If you're selling, hopefully it's just to get out of position. So we look to tomorrow and see, what do we get? You know, tomorrow, what do we want to see? It's a triple distribution day to the upside. So the most positive thing for buyers would be open above 64.50, essentially. Okay, round it out, 64.55. Buyers want to open above 64.55 and stay in this upper distribution. So if I were to highlight where we would like to stay, it's going to be in this area right here. All right, you want to see buyers open up anywhere within this range of 64.55 to 64.70. If we hold above this and get valued overlapping the higher or completely higher, then you will continue to see a grind to the upside. If we do not, and we open up in the middle distribution, which is anywhere from 64.53 down to 64.44, things could get a little ugly, because then we'd be finding acceptance back within value, and then you're most likely going to come back and test the 64.30 level, which once again would not be a terrible long. We've seen it hold today. If we did pull back to that area, look to see if it holds tomorrow, which, because it would be value low. And if you did test that and hadn't already tested value high, the odds of rotating back up towards value high and into the upper distribution would be good. But the most positive thing, like I said, for tomorrow is to remain above 64.55 and get that grind to the upside. So with all that being said, ladies and gentlemen, hope you all have a wonderful day. Thanks for stopping by. Hopefully you found something out of this video. If you didn't, go check out my mentor, Paul Asmar, ASMAR, and then camelbacktrading.org. Go check him out.